Or how big is the universe? Stop. Don't rush past it. You think it's just curiosity. It's not. It's a confrontation. Because the moment you seriously ask this question, you're no longer safe inside your normal way of thinking. Your brain wants numbers. It wants a clean answer, something you can repeat, something you can feel in control of. But this question doesn't give you control. It takes it away. You were trained to think in limits. Rooms, streets, cities, countries, even when you think big. You stretch to planets, maybe stars. But the universe, that's not big. That's a category your mind was never designed to handle. Let's break your comfort. You are standing on a planet Earth. It feels massive, doesn't it? Oceans, continents, billions of people. Now zoom out. That entire planet is orbiting a single star sun. That star is just one dot among hundreds of billions inside a galaxy Milky Way. Hundreds of billions. Pause there. Your brain already started to blur the number. It replaced it with a vague feeling. A lot. That's your first failure. Because reality isn't a lot. Reality is precise, even when you can't feel it. Now go further. That galaxy you just imagine as huge, it's one among trillions in the observable universe. Trillions. Say it again slowly. Not millions, not billions. Trillions. And here's where it breaks you. Even after stacking trillions of galaxies, you're still not at the full size of the universe. You're only describing the part you can see, or the visible edge, the surface of a deeper unknown. Your mind wants to stop here. It wants to say, okay, that's enough. But the universe doesn't care about what feels like enough. Here's the first brutal realization. Everything you've ever known, every person, every memory, every war, every dream exists inside a fraction of reality so small, it's almost embarrassing. You're not just small. You're inside something small compared to what might exist. Let that land. You wake up stressed. You overthink conversations. You worry about how people see you. But zoom out far enough, and your entire life doesn't even register. Not as a failure, not as a success. It just doesn't appear. That's not motivational. That's not comforting. That's reality. And most people avoid it, because if you really accept it, something uncomfortable happens. Your sense of importance cracks. You've been living like you're at the center of your story. And on a personal level, that's true. But on a cosmic level, you're not even a side character. You're a flicker. A moment so brief, it's almost invisible against the age of the universe. And here's where it gets worse or better, depending on how honest you are. Your brain cannot truly visualize this scale. Not because you're not smart enough, because no human is. You can memorize facts. You can repeat numbers. But you cannot feel the difference between a million, a billion, and a trillion in any real way. To your mind, they all collapse into one vague, or blur. And that's dangerous, because when you can't feel scale, you underestimate reality. You shrink it down to something comfortable, something manageable, something that fits inside your daily routine. But the universe doesn't shrink for you. It stays vast, cold, indifferent, whether you understand it or not. Here's the harsh truth you don't want to hear. You are not built to comprehend the universe, but you are forced to exist inside it anyway. No preparation, no manual. You're dropped into. For existence, given a limited brain, and expected to make sense of something that has no obligation to make sense to you. That's the deal. And most people never face it. They distract themselves. They stay busy. They stay small. Because thinking about this too deeply feels uncomfortable. It feels destabilizing. It makes your daily concerns look fragile, temporary, almost pointless. But ignoring it doesn't make it go away. It just keeps you trapped in a smaller version of reality, a safer illusion. Here's the shift you need. Stop trying to understand the size of the universe like it's a fact to memorize. Instead, let it break your assumptions. Let it challenge your ego. Let it expose how narrow your perspective has been. Because this question, how big is the universe, is not really about size. It's about scale versus perception. It's about realizing that your instincts, your feelings, your sense of importance are calibrated for survival, not truth. And once you see that, you can't unsee it. You start noticing how often you exaggerate your own problems. How often do you act like everything revolves around your current situation? How often you delay action as if time is unlimited? It's not. And the universe makes that clear brutally. Because in something this vast, your time is microscopic, not metaphorically, literally, a blink. So the real question isn't, how big is the universe? The real question is, now that you know you're this small, what are you going to do with the time you actually have? You've heard the line before. The universe is about 93 billion light years across. It sounds solid, measured, certain, like science has it under control. It doesn't. That number is not the size of the universe. It's the size of the observable universe. And that one word, observable, changes everything, because it quietly admits something most people ignore. You are not seeing reality. You are seeing a limited slice of it, a bubble, a horizon, a boundary built not by walls, but by time and light. Here's how it traps you. Light has a speed limit. Nothing travels faster. So when you look into space, you're not seeing things as they are now. You're seeing them as they were. A star 1,000 light years away, you see it 1,000 years in the past. A galaxy millions of light years away, you're looking millions of years back in time. Push it further billions of light years and you're staring into the ancient universe itself. Not because you chose to, because that's all you're allowed to see. Now connect this with something more brutal. The universe has an age about 13.8 billion years. So light has only had that much time to travel, which means there is a hard limit to how far we can ever observe. Not a technological limit, a fundamental one. Even if you had perfect telescopes, infinite resolution, flawless detection, you still wouldn't see beyond that horizon, ever. Here's the second brutal realization. There are parts of the universe that exist right now that you will never see, never detect, and never influence no matter what you do. Not in your lifetime, not in humanity's future, never. Think about that carefully. We like to believe reality is accessible, that if something exists, we can eventually reach it, measure it, understand it. That belief is wrong. There are entire regions of existence permanently cut off from you, not hidden, not waiting, just unreachable. And it gets even more uncomfortable. The universe isn't just expanding, it's accelerating. Space itself is stretching faster and faster, which means distant galaxies are moving away from you at incredible speeds in many cases, faster than light due to the expansion of space. So what happens then? Their light never reaches you. Not because it doesn't exist, but because the space between you and it grows too fast, like trying to swim toward a shore that keeps moving away faster than you can swim. No matter how hard you try, you lose. Now zoom in on the implication. Right now at this exact moment, there are galaxies emitting light, signals, information. Entire cosmic stories unfolding. And that light is already doomed. It will never arrive here. It will never be seen. It will never become part of human knowledge. It's gone before it even begins from your perspective. Let that sink in. Reality is happening beyond your reach constantly, and you don't even notice. Here's where the illusion gets dangerous. You wake up every day assuming what you see is the full picture. You trust your senses. You trust your observations. You trust that science is gradually filling in the gaps. But this is one gap that cannot be filled, not because we're not advanced enough, because the rules of the universe don't allow it. The observable universe is not reality. It's just the portion reality lets you witness. That's it. A permission window, a slice of existence filtered by time, distance, and the speed of light. Everything beyond that, still real. Still happening, just not for you. And here's the part that hits harder than it should. You live your life like you have access to everything that matters, but you don't even have access to most of the universe. Not even close. You are inside a cosmic room with no doors, and the walls are moving outward faster than you can ever reach them. Now ask yourself something uncomfortable. If most of reality is permanently hidden from you, how confident should you really be about your understanding of your existence, about your assumptions, about what you think is true? This is where people either grow or retreat, because accepting this does something dangerous. It humbles you. It strips away the illusion that you're in control, that you're fully aware, that you can eventually figure everything out. You can't, and that's not failure. That's the structure of reality itself. Here's the shift you need to make. Stop thinking of the universe as something you fully live inside. Start seeing it as something you only partially access, a limited interface, like looking at reality through a narrow window and mistaking that view for the whole landscape. Once you see that, everything changes. Your certainty weakens, your curiosity sharpens, your ego takes a hit, and that's necessary. Because if you keep living as if your perspective is complete, you stay trapped in a smaller world than the one you actually exist in, a filtered version, a reduced reality. And the cost of that? You stop. You're questioning. You stop expanding your thinking. You settle for shallow understanding. All while the real universe, vast, unreachable, and indifferent, continues without you. So don't ask how big is the universe, like it's a number. Ask something harder. How much of reality am I completely blind to and still acting like I understand? You imagine the universe like a scene, objects sitting in space, galaxies floating, everything placed inside some giant invisible container. That picture is, you're wrong. There is no container. There is no outside. There is no edge you can point to and say, it ends there. Because the universe isn't expanding into something. Space itself is expanding. That's the part your intuition rejects. You're used to movement meaning. Something travels from point A to point B, but this isn't that. This is distance itself stretching, everywhere, all at once. If you could step outside your instincts and see it clearly, it would look less like objects moving and more. Like the fabric between them being pulled apart. Galaxies aren't racing through space like bullets. They're being carried away by the expansion of space itself. And the farther something is from you, the faster it disappears. Not because it chose to, because that's how reality is structured. Here's the first hit you need to feel. There is no central point in the universe, no special location, not here, not anywhere. From your perspective, it looks like everything is moving away from you. But if you stood in another galaxy, Andromeda galaxy, for example, you would see the same thing. Everything moving away from there. Same pattern, same expansion. That means something uncomfortable. You are not at the center. No one is. Every point is just another point in a system that has no preferred position, that destroys a quiet assumption you carry, that where you are matters more than where you're not. It doesn't. Now push deeper. The expansion of the universe isn't slowing down. It is. We're accelerating faster and faster, driven by something we barely understand, often called dark energy. We don't fully know what it is. We don't know why it exists, but we know what it does. It stretches the universe apart at an increasing rate, and that leads to something most people never think about. Right now, you can look up and see distant galaxies. Light that has traveled billions of years to reach you. But this is temporary. As expansion accelerates, those galaxies will move farther and farther away. Their light will struggle more and more to reach you, until one day it won't. Gone, not destroyed, not vanished, just no longer visible, forever out of reach. Here's the second brutal realization. The universe is not just expanding, it is isolating you, piece by piece, galaxy by galaxy. The cosmic web is slowly breaking apart. Right now, you are part of a visible, connected universe. In the future, that connection disappears. Eventually, all distant galaxies will fade beyond the horizon. All that will remain visible is your local group, a small cluster of galaxies gravitationally bound together. Everything else? Silence, darkness. Imagine living in that future. You look at the sky, and it's almost empty. No distant galaxies, no cosmic structure. Just a few nearby stars and galaxies isolated in an endless void. And you would never know what once existed. No evidence, no signals, no history. Here's the third harsh truth. The universe is slowly deleting its own past. And future observers will never know what you can see right now. You exist in a rare moment. A narrow window where the universe is still visible in its full structure. Clusters, filaments, billions of galaxies. A cosmic map that won't always be accessible. This is not permanent. It's temporary alignment. You are early enough to see, late enough to understand. That combination, it's rare, and you didn't earn it. You just happen to be here. Now bring it back to yourself. You live like time is. You're stable. Like things will stay the way they are long enough for you to figure everything out. But the universe doesn't wait. It moves, it changes, it erases, and you're inside that process, not watching it from a distance. You're being carried by it. Every second, space stretches. Every second, distances grow. Every second, parts of reality slip further away from you. And there's nothing you can do to stop it. No effort, no intelligence, no technology. This is not a problem to solve. It's a condition to accept. Here's the shift. Stop thinking of the universe as a static stage where your life happens. Start seeing it as a dynamic system that is constantly changing with or without you. Because once you accept that, you stop waiting for perfect conditions. You stop assuming things will always be available. You stop acting like access is guaranteed. It's not. Even the universe doesn't keep its own doors open forever. And here's the part that hits personally. If the universe itself is, we're constantly moving forward, expanding, evolving, letting go of what was once visible, then what exactly are you waiting for? You delay decisions. You postpone action. You assume there will always be time later. But later is not a fixed point. It's shrinking, just like the visible universe. So don't just understand expansion as a scientific idea. Feel what it means. Everything is moving away. Opportunities, time, moments. And just like distant galaxies, if you wait too long, some things won't, or just be harder to reach. They will be gone. So now you ask again, how big is the universe? And this time, you're not satisfied with numbers. Good. Because numbers were never the real answer. You can say billions of light years, you can say trillions of galaxies, but here's the problem. Your brain treats all of that the same way, as noise, as abstraction, as something that sounds impressive, but doesn't actually change how you live. That's the failure, not of science, of perception. Because the real issue is not how big the universe is, it's what that size does to your sense of meaning. And most people can't handle that question. They jump to extremes, either nothing matters, or everything is part of some grand plan. Both feel safe. Both avoid the harder truth, because the universe doesn't hand you meaning. It doesn't whisper purpose into your ear. It doesn't adjust itself to make your life feel important. Here's the first hard realization. The universe is vast and completely indifferent to you. Not hostile, not supportive, indifferent. That means your existence is not required, not necessary, not central. You are not here because the universe needed you. You are here because conditions allowed you. That's it. And for a lot of people, that feels like a loss because it removes the idea that they're special by default. But look closer. It doesn't remove your ability to be meaningful. It removes the illusion that meaning is automatic. That's different. Now, or go deeper. Imagine the universe is infinite. No edge, no boundary, no final point. Just endless space stretching beyond anything you can ever conceive. Now ask yourself, what does size even mean in something infinite? How do you measure big when there is no limit? You can't. Comparison breaks. Scale collapses. Everything becomes relative. And here's where your mind struggles. If the universe has no edge, then your position inside it has no absolute significance. Not here, not anywhere. There is no special location, no cosmic spotlight pointing at you. That idea you carry that your life sits at the center of something meaningful by default starts to fall apart. And that's uncomfortable because it forces you to face something direct. If meaning exists in your life, it's not because the universe gave it to you, it's because you created it. No one likes that responsibility at first because it removes the safety net. You can't blame the universe for your lack of direction. You can't wait for purpose to arrive. You can't assume things will eventually make sense on their own. You either build meaning or you live without it. That's the deal. Now here's the twist most people miss. They hear this and think, so nothing matters. That's not logic, that's avoidance. Because if nothing mattered, you wouldn't care about anything. But you do. You care about your life, your choices, your future, which means meaning is already happening. It's just not coming from outside. It is coming from you. And the size of the universe makes that clearer, not weaker. Because in something this vast, even a small conscious decision becomes powerful. Not because it changes the universe, but because it defines your experience inside it. Think about it. You are a thinking system inside an unimaginably large reality. You can reflect, choose, act. That doesn't make you cosmically important, but it makes you locally significant to yourself, to your life, to the people around you. And that's where meaning actually operates, not at the scale of galaxies, at the scale of decisions. Now here's the second harsh realization. Waiting for the universe to give your life meaning is the fastest way to waste it, because it never will. The universe is not a storyteller. It doesn't structure your life into a neat narrative. It doesn't guarantee outcomes. It doesn't care if you use your time well or throw it away. That responsibility is entirely yours, and most people avoid it. They stay. They're distracted. They stay passive. They wait. They act like meaning is something they'll find one day. But that day doesn't come, because meaning is not discovered like an object. It's constructed through action, through choices, through how you respond to reality. Now connect this back to size. The bigger the universe feels, the easier it is to feel small, and the easier it is to justify doing nothing. Why does it matter? I'm insignificant anyway. That sounds logical, but it's a trap, because it confuses scale with relevance. Yes, you are small compared to the universe, but your life is not lived at the scale of the universe. It's lived at the scale of your actions, your time, your decisions, and those still matter completely within your frame of existence. Here's the shift you need. Stop using the size of the universe as an excuse to shrink your life. Use it as a reason to take it seriously, because nothing is guaranteed, not meaning, not purpose, not direction. You don't inherit those, you build them. And ignoring that has consequences. You drift, you waste time, you live reactively instead of intentionally. All while the universe keeps expanding, moving, and evolving without waiting for you to catch up. So don't ask, what does it all mean? Like the universe owes you an answer. Ask something harder. Given that the universe gives you nothing by default, what are you actually going to create with the time you have? 5. So now come back to the question 1. Last time, how big is the universe? Not as a number, not as a fact you repeat, as a reality you felt. It's bigger than your imagination, bigger than your ability to process, bigger than anything your brain was designed to handle. And after everything you've just faced, here's what remains. You are still here, breathing, thinking, aware. Inside something that does not pause for you, does not notice you, does not adjust for you. That's not poetic. That's the final reality. The universe is expanding. Time is moving. Entropy is increasing. And you are on a clock you cannot see but cannot escape. Here's the first thing you need to accept, clearly and without comfort. You are not running out of time someday. You are running out of time right now, not dramatically, quietly, every second, while you read, while you think, while you hesitate. It's happening. And the universe doesn't slow down to let you catch up. Now be honest with yourself. How are you actually living? Are you acting like your time is limited, or are you behaving like you have endless chances? Because most people fall into the same pattern. They delay decisions. They avoid discomfort. They wait for clarity. They wait for motivation. They wait for the right moment. But in a universe like this, that thinking doesn't just fail. It costs you everything. Here's the second harsh realization. Indecision is not neutral. It is a choice one that slowly erases your life without you noticing. You don't need a disaster to waste your time. You just need to keep postponing action. And that's exactly what most people do. They stay in safe loops. Familiar routines, comfortable distractions, while the clock keeps moving, while opportunities quietly pass. Just like distant galaxies slipping beyond reach, some chances don't come back. Not because you weren't capable, because you waited too long. And by the time you realize it, they're gone. Now zoom out one last time. The universe is not just big. It is indifferent, expanding, and constantly changing. It doesn't preserve moments. It doesn't store missed chances. It doesn't rewind. Everything that exists is temporary. Stars burn out. Galaxies drift apart. Even the night sky you see today will not always look like this. And you are far more temporary than all of it. Here's the third brutal truth. You are a brief event in a universe that will not remember you. No cosmic record, no universal memory. Your existence is not archived in some grand system. It happens and then it's gone. That sounds harsh, but don't escape it. Face it fully. Because once you do, something shifts. You stop chasing validation from a universe that doesn't give it. You stop waiting for permission to act. You stop pretending your time is expandable. And you start seeing your life for what it actually is. A limited window, not guaranteed, not repeatable, just available right now. That's where the real power is. Not in being important to the universe, but in recognizing that you don't need to be. You don't need cosmic approval to live with intensity. You don't need universal meaning to make your actions matter to you. You just need to stop wasting what you already have. Because here's the final shift. The size of the universe doesn't shrink you, it exposes how small your excuses are. All the time in the world. Not true. I'll start later. Later is not promised. I need to feel ready. You won't. These are stories you tell yourself to avoid for action. And in a universe that never stops moving, those stories quietly destroy your only chance to do something real. So this is where it ends. No comfort, no soft landing, just truth. You are alive in a universe that is unimaginably vast, constantly expanding, and completely indifferent to your hesitation. You have a tiny window of time. And what you do inside that window is entirely on you. So here's the final question, the one that actually matters. Are you going to keep living like you? Or have infinite time? Or are you finally going to act like this moment is all you truly have? Decide. Because the universe already moved forward while you were thinking.